The story begins with a man named Philly, Knox, and Parker. They've broken into a racetrack counting room to pull off a robbery. But behind the counting room, an employee shows up with his family. He notices these unknown vehicles parked outside. The man realizes a heist is happening inside. But instead of calling 911, he grabs a gun and says, "I'm gonna rob the robbers." He bursts outside, opens fire on Parker's team, grabs a bag of cash, and makes a run for it. Parker chases after him. The man drives straight into the middle of the horse racetrack. Horses slam into his vehicle. Parker weaves beneath the galloping horses while they leap over the man's car. Parker shoots the man and retrieves his money. But he leaves them a little something too. Parker and his team arrive at a safe house. Knox is dead. Philly's been shot in the shoulder. They start treating his wound. Their getaway driver starts changing her clothes right there. Parker's watching her. Then suddenly, Zen pulls out a gun and shoots everyone. One by one, she kills every member of Parker's crew. Parker tries to escape, but he takes a bullet and falls into a river. The scene shifts to a man named Kincaid. He's telling his boss, Mr. Lozini, that Parker was involved in last weekend's racetrack incident. Someone heard his voice at the scene. Lozini reacts sharply when he hears Parker's name. He says, "Now I have to get involved." Kincaid replies, "No sir, if you get involved, there tends to be a lot of breakage." Lozini says, "Fine. As long as Parker stays out of New York, the outfit's deal with him still stands." The scene shifts back to Parker. He wakes up in a motel. The first thing he says is, "I asked to stay in room 12. But the motel owner tells him room 12 is taken. So Parker kicks out the people in room 12, breaks a wall, and retrieves his belongings. From there, Parker heads straight to Philly's house. Philly's wife, Grace, asks, "Philly's not with you?" Parker's silence tells her everything. Philly is gone. Parker explains Zen's betrayal. Grace says, "Philly admired you. He thought you were special because you took on the mob and you lived." Parker replies, "I didn't take on the outfit. I robbed them by mistake." Grace says, "Either way, you're still sitting here safe. Once again, you survived." Parker asks for Grace's help tracking down Zen. He promises to give her Philly's share of the money. But Grace says, "Money isn't everything. If you won the lottery tomorrow, what would you do? Would you stop stealing?" Grace gives Parker the address of a man named Reggie Riley who might be able to help. In exchange, she asks Parker to kill Zen. Parker calls his associate Alan Grofield and asks for help finding Reggie. Parker tracks Reggie down. Reggie asks, "Where's my driver, Jimmy?" Parker says, "He's sleeping." Parker asks Reggie about Zen. "You introduced her to Philly Webb." Reggie explains, "I only did business with her once or twice. She used to be part of some South American dictator's elite guard. Reggie just spoke with Zen a little while ago." Parker says, "Oh, that's why I noticed someone is following us. Zen must have sent people to kill Reggie." Frightened, Reggie gives Parker Zen's address. Suddenly, another car slams into theirs. Zen's men move toward Parker's vehicle. Parker fights back. Reggie is killed in the chaos. But from the trunk of the car, Reggie's driver emerges and opens fire on the attackers. He's killed too. Parker shoots one of the thugs in the leg and captures him. Parker will use this man to get to Zen. Meanwhile, Zen is meeting with a man named Bosco. Bosco is going to give Zen the plan for her next heist tonight. Zen says, "You have no idea, but you're doing something very noble." But Bosco just wants his money now, because he knows once Zen gets the plan, she'll kill him. Bosco doesn't trust Zen. Suddenly, Parker bursts in and aims his gun at Zen. "Tell me where my money is." When Bosco tries to draw his weapon, Parker guns him down. Zen says, "What did you do?" "I needed him alive." Zen spent all of Parker's money on this new job, and now Parker just ruined everything. Then Bosco, still alive, fires at Zen. Parker shoots him again, finishing him off. Parker demands to know about Zen's next heist. Zen explains they were planning to steal a bank truck. It was a $4 million job, but Bosco had all the routes and codes. Parker says, "You're lying. Tell me the truth." Zen reveals, "We were going to rob an entire country." She explains that 4 months ago, a sunken treasure was discovered in her homeland, a 15th century ship called the Lady of Arintero. It's worth billions. But her country's corrupt president, Ignacio de la Paz, doesn't want to use it to end poverty. He wants it for himself. He'll display it at the UN for show, then cleverly arrange for it to be stolen so he can play the victim while collecting his cut. But Zen's plan was to steal the treasure first. I'll feed my people. You'll become rich. But de la Paz hired the outfit to steal the treasure, the same organization Parker doesn't get along with. Meanwhile, at the outfit, Lozini asks Kincaid if everything's running smoothly. Kincaid says everything's fine, but Bosco is missing. But his part of the plan is already over, so I'm assuming it's not really that big of a deal. Lozini says, find Bosco. Parker and his associate Alan go meet Zen's boss, Colonel Fabricio. He starts telling them about the Arintero ship, but Parker cuts him off. We don't need the story, just tell us the plan. Parker demands a 30% cut for helping with the heist, which equals $300 million. They've been building a fake statue that looks just like the Lady of Arintero. Their plan is to swap it with the original and cover up the theft. Parker says, covering up the theft is the least of our worries. Their biggest problem is the UN building. It's the most protected building in the world. Parker says, we're not stealing it from them. We're stealing it from your president's thieves. First, let them steal it. Then we'll steal it from them. One of Zen's team members warns Parker to stay away from Zen. Alan finds out that the group stealing for the president is none other than the outfit. Alan says, have you lost your mind? You made a deal that you wouldn't go to New York. And now they've just entered New York. Parker says, relax. You know I always survive. Alan also knows that $300 million is worth the risk. That evening, Parker arrives at a club. Alan is keeping watch on Kincaid. Parker and Zen are here to meet Bosco's boyfriend. Zen says, I think I should talk to him alone. We've met before, trust me. But Parker doesn't trust Zen. She already betrayed him and killed his crew. Zen starts talking to the man, but Parker cuts straight to it and says, Bosco's dead. Hearing this, Nick breaks down crying. They ask him about Bosco's plan documents. But at the same time, Kincaid's men arrive outside the club. They open fire. They punch Nick, demanding to know where Bosco is. But suddenly, Nick has a heart attack. Zen says, I'm a doctor. She opens fire on the thugs and tries to save Nick. Meanwhile, Parker heads upstairs to Bosco's room. He tears open his toy, Mr. Bluey. Bosco had an entire closet filled with Mr. Bluey toys. Parker finds the plan documents, but then Kincaid shows up. Parker and Kincaid fight. Parker throws Kincaid off the balcony. Police are down below. Parker tosses Kincaid onto their car. Parker doesn't tell Alan that Kincaid saw him and recognized him. They escape safely. On the other side, Kincaid's bones are all broken. Lozini asks him what happened. Kincaid says they didn't find Bosco, but Parker was there. Lozini says, I should have stepped in as soon as I heard his name. The scene shifts to some of Parker's friends. They'll be part of Parker's plan too. Parker explains that in 24 hours, the outfit will steal the treasure. We don't know how they'll do it. What we do know is they'll transport it through a ghost metro station below the UN using a refuse train. This train is automatic. The crew loads it with the day's trash. But tomorrow, it won't stop at any station. It'll go straight to the final dump, where the outfit will be waiting. And that's where we come in. We need to get into the control room, take control of the train, and increase its speed. Parker gives Brenda and Ed the control center's manual. Study this. And according to Bosco's plans, the outfit will have a man there too, so handle him. Alan needs to go to the train stations and disable the fail-safes so the speeding train's brakes don't trip. At 70 miles per hour, the train will go off track and crash right here. And Parker's crew will steal all the treasure. Parker finishes explaining the plan and leaves. He checks into a hotel and asks for room number 12. But Zen has already arrived there ahead of him. She hands Parker a drink. Zen tries to flirt with him. Zen tells Parker the story of the Lady of Arintero. Once upon a time in the 15th century, most of Spain had been conquered until a mysterious knight from Leon joined the fight. No one knew who he was until during the Battle of Toro, another soldier swung a blade, tore open his armor, exposing that she was a woman. The Lady of Arintero, despite being a countess, gave up everything to fight as a man for something bigger than herself. And this was the story that shaped Zen as a kid. Zen asks Parker, "What's your story?" Parker says, "I stole something and I got away with it. It's a simple story." Zen says, "You, me, and this job, it has to work. I can't risk you getting cold feet." But suddenly, Mateo, the man who has feelings for Zen, attacks them. He ties Parker up outside in the snow and pours buckets of water over him. "You'll die here in 30 minutes. The outfit is coming here to pick you up." Parker says, "Are you people crazy? You think the outfit will let you walk away? They know what you're doing." Mateo says, "We won't even meet them. They'll only find you here." As Mateo and his partner are leaving, a car arrives. Mateo tells his partner to go check it out. Parker yells, "Mateo, untie me. I know these people." Suddenly, he hears his partner screaming. Mateo unties Parker. Then Zen shows up from behind. She tracked Mateo's phone to get here, but even she doesn't know what those screams were about. Parker saves Mateo from the outfit's attack. Mateo says, "You saved my life." So in the very next moment, Parker uses Mateo as a human shield. Parker picks up the phone of one of the outfit's men. Lozini is calling. Lozini says, "We had a deal. You stay out of my city, and I don't kill you." Lozini says, "I let you go 3 years ago because you killed my boss, which was something good for me." Lozini threatens Parker. "I run the entire outfit and you're alone." He says, "Whatever plan you've made, forget it. I already know everything. And that's why the heist isn't happening tomorrow. It's happening now." So Parker has to change the timing of his plan. He calls his crew, but they're all partying hard, completely drunk. Alan gathers everyone up. "Come on, let's go." But no one's in any condition. Ed and Brenda change clothes and arrive at the control center. They say, "Open the door, there's a problem." Ed explains that there's a man here who changed a train's route. "Go check it out." The outfit's man pulls a gun on the control center workers. Everyone hands up. But then an employee opens the gate. Ed punches the outfit's man. Everyone starts clapping. But then Ed pulls a gun on all of them. "We're controlling this train now." He tries to operate the train according to the manual, but the control panel is completely different. One employee helps them a little. They increase the train's speed. It starts picking up gradually. They need it to hit 70 at the turn. Alan arrives to disable the failsafe switch, but his gun falls. He can't disable it with his bare hands. Alan manages to disable it just in time and barely escapes the oncoming train. The speed hits 60. Parker and Zen reach the crash site. But because the train isn't going 70, it doesn't derail at the turn. Parker says, "Don't stop the train, speed it up. There's another turn ahead." They tell Alan about the next failsafe switch. He'll have to disable that one too. Stan is driving the truck while drunk. Alan is searching for the failsafe switch when Stan hits him. He crashes his truck too. Alan regains consciousness after a while and sees the failsafe switch in front of him. Alan shoots the kill switch just in time and disables it. This time, the train's speed is much faster. It derails. But this train came down from way too high and way too fast. Zen floors her car in reverse at full speed to save herself. Alan barely survives too. They find the treasure box. But it's filled with rocks. This whole thing was Lozini's trap to catch Parker. There's a tracker in the box. Lozini's men arrive. Parker and his team fight them off, but the police show up. Parker and his team try to escape, but their car is wrecked. 2 police cars arrive. But one of the cars has Stan in it. They get away. The next morning, the incident is all over the news. Zen starts to leave, saying, "I have to go home and give my people the bad news." Parker says, "You didn't know my story, did you?" He explains, "I was 8 years old. All I'd stolen by then was a bottle of bourbon. And there were these bigger boys who were bullies. They ran deliveries for Maury, the biggest drunk in town. One day, my friend and I were playing basketball. Those guys showed up. Cal, the biggest one, said it was his court. He punched my friend hard and chased us all off. So I waited for my chance to get revenge. I noticed that every Friday, Cal would go see a girl Parker knew. He'd take her bike to do Maury's jobs. That girl cried a lot. So I broke her bike. Cal couldn't get the bike. Maury got angry. Maury beat him. And that first bottle of bourbon I stole? I made sure it ended up in Maury's car that day. Maury got drunk and broke Cal's hand. And Parker got to play basketball all summer. Now the point of this story is that Parker had a plan when he was 8 years old, and he's got a plan today. He takes Zen back and tells his team, I have an idea. But Alan gets angry. Why did you lie about the outfit not knowing you're here? You said Kincaid didn't see you at the club, but he did see you. Parker's team has given up. Alan says, the police and Lozini are all after you. How thin do you want to spread yourself, huh? But Parker's plan is, look, the treasure has probably already been sold off and split up by now. But what about that figurehead? It's definitely still intact somewhere. And it's worth no less than $500 million. We just need to find the buyer. Parker says, we'll get that information from Kincaid. Kincaid finds out someone's about to jump from the top of his building. Kincaid sends his man upstairs to check. As soon as he goes up, Parker knocks him out and tosses him down. He and Alan put on cop uniforms and break into Kincaid's apartment, saying someone jumped from the building and they need to ask some questions. They go inside and ask Kincaid, tell us, who's buying the figurehead? Kincaid says, I'll tell you, but don't throw me off the building. Parker says, I won't throw you. But knowing that Parker threw his partner off the building, Kincaid passes out from fear. So they ask his caretaker. She tells Parker the buyer is Phineas Paul, and he just posted a picture of his meal at Valentino. Parker goes straight to Phineas and asks about the Lady of Arintero. Phineas says, do you even know who you're talking to? So Parker kills Mark Cuban, who's sitting nearby. He kidnaps Phineas at gunpoint. Phineas explains, the statue hasn't arrived yet, but I know where it's being kept. It's inside a vault. Even if you break open the vault door, the statue is in a special security cage made of tungsten carbon alloy that my company manufactures. It'll take days to cut through. That cage will only open tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Zen pulls up their website. The figurehead is in vault number 1. Everyone leaves Phineas with Stan and heads out to steal the statue. The vault's security guards watch the CCTV cameras and see a woman jogging. A car is about to hit her, but their cameras go dark. A security guard heads outside to check. Alan traps him with his acting. Zen knocks him out from behind. Alan uses the security guard's access card to get inside. They knock out the second security guard too. Meanwhile, Stan is dancing in front of Phineas. He won't stop talking. Stan falls asleep. Phineas escapes. He stops a passing car, asks a woman for her phone, and calls Lozini. He tells him everything. Lozini gathers his men and heads to the vault. His man says, relax, no one can get into the vault. But Lozini knows Parker. Parker and Alan blast open the vault door. By then, Lozini arrives. But before they can get inside, Parker has already taken the figurehead. They chase after Parker. 2 cars come at Parker and Alan from the front. And that's when a massive chase begins. Lozini's men open fire on them. Parker gets out of the car and secures the statue tightly in the moving vehicle. He fights off Lozini's thugs. But during all this, the ropes holding the statue start coming loose. Parker falls off his vehicle. Zen arrives and saves him from Lozini's men. But the statue breaks free from Alan's pickup truck and ends up with Lozini's men. Lozini calls Phineas and says, we've got the lady, and we're delivering it now. Phineas says, opening that cage isn't even possible. But Lozini says, Parker opened it. Lozini's men arrive at Phineas's house. Phineas says, I can only pay tomorrow morning. Phineas closes his door and begins admiring the lady. Finally, we meet. But then a small piece of the figurehead falls to the floor. Phineas quickly picks it up. Looking at it, he realizes it's a fake. President de la Paz himself shows up and calls Lozini, saying, you're done. Lozini is shocked to learn the statue is fake. He realizes the real statue never left the vault. This was all Parker's plan. Parker breaks into the vault now. At 8 a.m., the cage opens automatically. They load the figurehead, but Lozini arrives there too. He realizes Parker switched the vault numbers to trick them. He changed 1 to 3 and 3 to 1. He blew open an empty vault gate, then put on a big chase to make everyone believe they were after the figurehead. But it was all a lie. It was Parker's plan. Lozini says, but it still didn't work, did it? Parker was late because of the time lock. He knew that 8 a.m. was cutting it close. Parker starts talking. The outfit's in bad shape, isn't it? I've been watching you guys for a long time. I know your business is failing. And to save the business, you took De La Paz's job, because without this job, the outfit will go bankrupt. Parker shows a bomb remote and says, I won't let you take it. Then De La Paz's men arrive from outside. Lozini is completely trapped. Parker blows up the figurehead. As he's dying, Lozini says, we could have made a deal. This was $500 million. Parker said, you said I was alone, right? Well, look, I destroyed your entire organization. Parker's team gets away. As Parker says goodbye to his team, he gives them the diamonds left from the figurehead saying, it'll at least cover your expenses. After that, Parker goes to Zen at a hotel. She's watching the news, where their president's truth has been exposed to everyone. Some of the treasure was found in one of Lozini's warehouses. Now it'll go to Zen's people. Zen thanks Parker. She invites him to come to her country. Parker says, I can't come to you. He remembers that Zen killed his friend Philly, and Parker came here to get revenge. Zen says, in the beginning, I was pretending to like you so you do our job. But somewhere along the way, the pretending became real. Parker says, me too. He kills Zen and leaves. He goes and gives Philly's wife some diamonds. This is Philly's share. And with that, our story comes to an end. Let us know in the comments how you liked this explanation. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.